Hi everyone, I'm Tamara Sachs, and today we're going to talk about the needle theory. Very interesting topic. A lot of permanent makeup artists don't understand their needles and why they're using specific needle for a specific procedure. So we're going to talk about that today. So let's first talk about short taper versus long taper, which are the two types that we use in permanent makeup. So if you can zoom in,
a second.
in short taper needles, you can see that only the tip of the needle, so very small part of it, is kind of very fine. Okay. In long taper, we kind of made the needle fine for a longer period, so it has a longer taper. Okay. Now, why do we care? Because whenever you will use short taper type of needles, you're creating less trauma in that area of the skin. For example, if you're trying to shade something, then these needles are much better. If you're doing an eyeliner, if you're doing powder brows, if you are filling up the lips. If you're trying to achieve a more crisp, very fine stroke, then you would want to use the long taper type of needle. Okay, then we have the diameter that we normally get from the manufacturer. So what does it mean? As you can see in the example over here, okay, the smaller the diameter, it means that also the tip of the needle is a bit finer. The wider it is, it means that the tip of the needle is also a little bit wider. Now, it's not necessarily that the thinner diameter is better than the thicker diameter. It all depends what you want to do. If you want to work with a very thin diameter, you need to really know how to do your hair strokes very thin, very crisp, very good. If you're going to repeat them many times, you're going to create a thicker hair stroke than if you would have used 0.40, for example. So if you're a starter and you want to do hair stroke eyebrows, then you better use a thicker diameter than a thinner one. Now, the last thing you want to know about your needles is grouping of needles. So normally, when we move from one single needle into several needles together, we have two grouping. RS, which stands for round shader, okay, that normally correlates the short taper type of needles. Another thing to know is that round shader structure has spaces in between, okay, and the reason being is that now we want to shade something faster and very efficiently. So if you want to do eyeliner, if you want to fill up lips, then you want to have the round shader structure. You can also do amazing powder brows, ombre brows with this type of grouping. The second type of grouping is RL, which stands for round liner, and that correlates with the long taper type of needles. Okay, and in this grouping, we have no spaces between the needles, which means even though you're taking several needles together, they will still have a really nice, crisp one line. So for example, you have 3RL, you have 5RL, so it just gives you a thicker line, okay, but it's still very crisp and soft line. So I would use that to do the tail of my eyeliner. I would use it to do the contour on the lips, and if you want to do ombre with that, you can do that as well. The last structure we have is the magnum. The magnum structure, as you can see, is very flat. It also corresponds to the short taper type of needles. And this type of grouping is just to fill in an area really fast. So for example, for areola, magnum needles are amazing. Filling up the lips, you will fill it much faster with a magnum. So you just really have to know what are your needles, what are they good for. Your aim is to finish the procedure as fast as you can so you don't create too much of trauma to the skin. So again, short taper, excellent for shading effects or to do dots for the scalp, for example. Long taper, great for hair stroke, crisp hair strokes. Numbers are the diameter derived from the needle. Okay, the thinner, it means the tip is also thinner. And then you have grouping, magnum, excellent for shading large areas like scars, areola, lips. Round shader, great for doing powder eyebrows, eyeliners. And round liner will be excellent to do the tail of the eyeliner or the contour of the lips. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to comment or ask questions below and like and follow us. Looking forward to seeing you in my next video.